ABC Sports presents, live in its 29th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today from Windsor Locks, Connecticut, it's the $140,000 Greater Hartford Open. In our first game, we'll see a PBA Hall of Famer, absent from the winner's circle for 10 years, Johnny Petraglia. His opponent was a finalist here last year from Mesa, Arizona, Dave Arnold. That winner will face 1989's leading money winner, 18-time PBA champion Mike Aulby. In the semifinal game, the 1988 PBA Rookie of the Year, looking for his first tour victory, Rick Steelsmith. Our tournament leader, won earlier this winter, is going for his 8th PBA championship, Milwaukee, Oregon's Dave Husted. And that's our field for today's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. Professional Bowlers Tour has traveled to north central Connecticut. Today we've stepped back in time. We are visiting the 50-year-old Connecticut Trolley Museum. And what an example this is. One of the 60 trolleys here at the museum. The beautiful restored cherry wood on the seats and the mahogany panels. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel. And you know, riding this restored trolley line at this spot brings back what I once read, that Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig traveled, going up here about 3 miles to a sandlot exhibition baseball game. It is a representative of the past, but would you believe it's probably very important for the future, because this car is powered by 600 volts of direct current. There is no pollution. In fact, there are some 50 cities in the United States that are going to light rail transportation. Well, we've been transported up here to do the finals of the Greater Hartford Open. We're going to go there now. And as I go to my colleague, I'd like to remind him that in this museum is a car from his hometown, St. Louis. Let's go to Nelson Burton, Jr.
Thank you, Chris. I rode those trolleys many a time. I was raised right off Wydown Boulevard in St. Louis. In fact, the ones in my area went about 50 miles an hour. We have a capacity crowd here at Bradley Bowl in Hartford for the 17th Greater Hartford Open, and this is one of the best scoring houses we have on tour. Last year it was #1 with a 237 average in the championship round, and this is the last week to qualify for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And one of the players in our championship round today has not appeared on ABC television in 7 long years, and that's PBA champion Johnny Petraglia, who'll be going in the first match. Here's a shot from 1983. Look at that haircut on Johnny. He even throws a hook ball back then. Johnny Petraglia, one of the great champions in the PBA. And with me in the announce booth, of course, the man will bowling in that first match. Johnny, it's been 7 long years. How do you feel going in the first match?
Well, Bo, I don't feel too bad. It's just great to be back. I was in a slump for such a long time. Just being here is the important thing.
You got a lot of experience. What did you tell yourself to do before you go out there today?
Well, today, just stay low and bowl 300. That's it.
All right, John, I know you know how to hit the championship lanes, but let's take a look at the pair and see how the players will attack them today. First place, the oil is down 41 feet. On the lanes, a little bit dry the last 19 feet. And this week, there's heavy oil concentration in the center, which produces very high scores. Now, the line for the right-handers will be somewhere between the second and third arrows. Arnold will be throwing straight. The other players will be throwing a little bit bigger hook. The left-handers will be coming from the extreme outside into the 1-2 pocket. Chris, a great shot to the pocket and plenty of money at stake.
That's right, a total of $140,000 here in Windsor Locks. 24 to the winner, 13 to the runner-up, 8, 6, and 5. The 5 going to the loser of our very first game, which is about to begin. Head-on match play. Johnny Petraglia, 43 years old, 14 titles, Hall of Famer, Triple Crown winner. Go! A solid 8.
That's a shot he could not have left 7 years ago with the powerful urethane bowling balls cutting through the 3-pound 6 and 7-ounce pins. Johnny leaves a solid 8. Watch the pin action. The ball should deflect off the 5 into the 8. John, with so much power, chops the 5 pin straight off the 8. Tough break to start out.
president of the Professional Bowlers Association, voted so by all the members, Johnny Petraglia. Now we look at non-winner, Dave Arnold. He's 26 years old, now bowling out of Mesa, Arizona, after living in California. Earned about $15,000 already this year. Big day for him. It's only his 5th telecast in his career. And the lanky one coming up with a powerful strike. Here's a replay.
Methodical 4-step delivery, just textbook style. Good locked arm swing. Look at the position of his arm. He drops it inside, gets a nice loft lift on the ball, and the dynamics of a perfect strike. 1, 3, 5, and 9 taken out by the bowling ball. Off to a good start, David Arnold.
Last year he finished 5th right here. Very slow bowler. He must release it in 25 seconds. High hit leaving the 9 pin on the left lane.
The championship pair, lanes 27-28 at 44 Lane Bowling Center, Bradley Bowl, across from the airport up here that serves the Northeast. He goes a little bit high, trips out the 4, avoids the 4-9 split, and that's almost like the tip this week, Chris. The 4-7-9-10 split will be the bowling tip. By the way, it will not be live this week.
All right, for Dave Arnold, only his 5th telecast, his 1st of the year. He has a strike and a spare. You could just take a long time to talk about this man's career. There you see a look at his average in 50 telecasts. That goes back a few years, too. 25-year member of the PBA, John Petraglia, leading the 4-7.
Johnny delivers a little bit high here, as you see his arm swing in really good position. It's inside out. He drops that in by his left hip, gets the big turn, doesn't quite send it wide enough, avoids the split, ends up with a relatively easy spare here. He'll trail by 2 if he converts.
Johnny Petraglia, the winner of the Dave Arnold-Petraglia match, will meet Mike Aulby, another man with heavy credentials. Johnny Petraglia, only child of Grace and Bill Petraglia, who are watching her telecast in Brooklyn.
Johnny will line up towards the right side of the lane and then drift a little bit more to the right over into this area, slide, and play a pretty good size hook out over the second arrow to the channel.
A 6-pin for Johnny. The 3-time winner this year, Jim Pensack, he finished 36th here.
You see the high hit of Petraglia, 3-pin to the sideboard, does not take out the 6. No problem for Petraglia here, easy spare.
Close first game, all at Bradley Bowl in the Windsor Locks, Connecticut area.
Dave Arnold, a product of the junior leagues from the California area, and they have a scratch junior tournament circuit that he kind of cut his teeth on when he was 14 years old, and he developed a lot of experience from there. See the angle he's playing, almost a straight ball. He walks pretty straight to the line, excellent form.
All right, Dave Arnold with his 2nd strike. We commented to him that a lot of bowlers on the tour have sponsors. Why do you sponsor yourself? Here's Dave's answer.
Well, it's not that easy to get a sponsor out here. You have to, it takes a lot of looking, and not a lot of people want to put up the money. So I have to do it myself, and if I don't perform out here, I don't get to stay out here.
All right, chance to double here and take a 13-pin lead. One regional title has taken a 13-pin lead. We're in our first match nearing the halfway point. More after this.
Nothing beats it. Nothing beats it. The one and only. Nothing beats it. The clean, the crisp, the cold. The king of beers. Nothing beats the bud. Nothing beats the king of beers. Nothing beats the Budweiser. Nothing beats the Bud.
Stunning beauty, thrilling action, the greatest moments in horse racing history, the jewels of the Triple Crown. A brand new video cassette written and narrated by Jim McKay and packed with rare and exclusive footage. The story of the Triple Crown, told for the 11 horses who have won it. You can now own the jewels of the Triple Crown for only $19.98 plus $3 shipping and handling. To order your video, call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Ah, yes, racing, the sport of kings. This is a great sport for people from all walks of life. Cross-section of America. Bowl and enjoy it. You're probably one of them. Here's a Brooklynite that learned it early, and what a career he's had. He's trailing by 13, a spare working, shooting in the fourth frame, Johnny Petraglia. Beautiful. Fourth strike. Someone wrote me, said there isn't such a thing as a beautiful strike. Sorry, I have to disagree.
Well, standing on the approach a number of times myself, Chris, especially in the championship round, whenever they go down, they're always beautiful. Petraglia, an experienced player, as you said, had his tour career kind of shortened a little bit by a one-year stint in Vietnam. He was involved in the Tet Offensive and came back and won it. His first title in 1966, Fort Smith, Arkansas. Great state.
Driving the 247, the man is one of 3 pros to win 3 consecutive titles, and he's the only to win 3 consecutive on television. Fairlanes in Baltimore, the Don Carter Classic New Orleans, and the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Weber and Roth have also turned the trick. The 247, as you see, Petraglia has climbed to the top 5. Tough spare for John.
All right. Dave Arnold, Johnny's opponent, is 6'3", 165 pounds. His best year was last year, earning $49,789, and that, of course, is without a title, without a tournament victory. Give him a lot of credit for his persistence, dedication. The clock is getting close to running out.
He's off. This is a warning right here.
Time warning now to Dave Arnold. What happens on the next infraction?
As Arnold talks to PBA official Harry Golden, receives his warning, the next one will be a $100 fine. If there happens to be a third one in this game, it will jump to $200 and then to $400, so forth. As you see, Arnold rolling a great shot down here. He rips the 5 into the 4-7 zone, has 3 strikes in a row through 5. He has a 23-pin lead. Now watch Dave Arnold. He walks fairly straight, but drifts a little bit to the left, and he'll throw pretty much of a straight ball between the second and third arrows.
With strikes like that Dave Arnold has been close on 3 occasions in his career. Has a couple of fifths and a fourth and a second, and one of these days he will come through. And right now he's proving his skills with 4 in a row and a 33-pin lead.
For Johnny Petraglia, he bowled 247 and threw a strike on this lane to make the top 5 in the clutch last night. He takes a re-rack. The pocket's a little bit tight. The 1-2 is a little bit tight for the lefty on the right lane.
And the man who isn't afraid to show his emotions, we asked him earlier why he hadn't made the championship final in the past 7 years.
Well, Bo, a lot has to do with my knees. I've had a lot of trouble with them, and I can't get low at the foul line. And I think after that, a slump just feeds on itself. And each year, I just started to bowl a little bit worse. To me, though, the thing that was great is we got a great bunch of guys out here. After I made the show, the support from everybody was just terrific. I love them.
He's had an operation on that right knee. He's contemplating one on the left.
Robbed, left to 10 pin.
Big shot for John right there. He goes to his power. He rips the 5 over into the 6-pin, 7-pin zone. The 6-pin gets interfered with, does not take out the 10. Tough break for Petraglia. And you can see his reaction. He knows it's a good shot. Look at the follow through. Come on.
Johnny Petraglia. Right now trailing by 33 pins as we'll be going to the 8th frame for Johnny.
I used pressure-treated lumber, and I still have $800 in water damage. How come?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal protection.
This patio was supposed to last for years. Now I have $1,200 in damage. Why?
Your concrete wasn't protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Thompson's penetrates into wood, brick, or concrete to form a barrier water can't get past, even when driven by 98-mile-per-hour winds.
Let it rain. This time I use Thompson's, a great defense against repair expense.
Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
This is really weird. I have to shampoo a lot. And every time I do, my hair gets wet, but my scalp gets dry. It's tight and itchy. The more I shampoo, the drier it can get. Now I can't stop shampooing, but I can use this. New dry scalp shampoo from Head & Shoulders. Made a different way, so it doesn't dry out your scalp like those other guys can. Try Head & Shoulders new dry scalp shampoo and help wipe out dry scalp.
From a girl of magic to a woman of mystery, the story of Nadia Comaneci's new life in America, plus the Wood Memorial, next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Yes, 14 years ago, we covered the first perfect 10 ever in Montreal by Nadia Comaneci, 1 of 4. Watch Wide World today. Mystery of Nadia and racing. Dave Arnold has strung 4 in a row, can take a 43-pin lead with a strike here. Good pressure shot for the man that's in the lead. And with 5 in a row, his lead is 43 pins. Let's go to Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Mike Aulby, you're bowling the next match. In my opinion, and I bowled on that championship here a number of times, the right-hander has a tremendous advantage because of the track area. How do you feel on the left side?
Well, I was playing inside in practice, but I watched Johnny move outside, so I'm going to go over and see what's happening on the outside before I make my decision.
The left-hander has to get a lot of angle to the pocket to stay up with the righties, Chris. Let's see what happens.
All right, the righty in the lead is on the left lane now. Dave Arnold, Mesa, Arizona. Leaving a 10-pin. The winner of this game, of course, will meet the man to whom Bo talked, Mike Aulby. Then Rick Steelsmith, followed by Dave Husted. Replay of the last shot where he left the 10-pin.
A little extra speed. The 6-pin just will not bump out of the channel and knock out the 10. But for Arnold, he's been around the pocket every shot except the second frame. With a spare here, he'll have a 42-pin lead over Petraglia, but it's not over yet. 2 big frames.
Meanwhile, Mike Aulby, the left-hander, continues to stay loose as you hear the pinfall of his practice shots off to our right. Johnny Petraglia with a total of 14 titles, including the Triple Crown.
See Petraglia standing in the center. He'll drift slightly to the right, play the big hook.
7-pin.
Nothing good happening for Johnny Petraglia right now. And yesterday morning, Friday morning, he came out and was in the top 10 and then really dropped the first 3 games before he got everything together, winning 10 of his last 11 matches, averaging 261 the last 4 last night. He's having the same type of problem he had yesterday morning, not being able to carry the corners.
But showing the form and style that has made him a hero among the bowlers. Speaking of heroes, they're all winners next week at the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Final leg of the Winter Tour, a prestigious event, $250,000 total, and Jim Pensack in his home area, three-time winner this year, of course, will be in the field, and so will Petraglia. So will Mike Aulby, who's up next.
Two of the players in our championship round today have not qualified. Dave Arnold in this match, and the number 2 qualifier, Rick Steelsmith.
Hoping to at least finish with a flourish. Another 7.
John, who looks real good to me, Chris. I watched him bowl a little bit last year. I worked out with him in Toledo last year. He didn't have the knee bend, didn't have the leverage he has right now, and I think he's well on his way to making a strong comeback in the PBA Tour, because he will stay out here.
Johnny Petraglia. What great winners here. Earl Anthony, Mark Roth, Joe Berardi. And yes, the first 2 Greater Hartford Opens were won by my colleague and friend, Bo Burton, 74 and 75.
Whew, a couple of good years.
Many a good tune has been played, though you can still do it. I want you to get out there and compete.
I will do some practicing this summer. Dave Arnold in the driver's seat.
And Dave has left the forepin, first 4 today.
A couple of things give the right-hander an advantage here at Bradley Bowl. Number 1, as subtle as it may seem, we're near the airport, and when planes come over, they knock a little dust into the air, and it gets ground into the track or worn area between the 2nd, 3rd arrows on all the lanes, and there's a little groove there the right-handers can play, so that the righties know they can play that. They get zeroed on the pair of lanes, and they have a slight advantage over the lefties.
Okay, there were 33 lefties that started in the field of 159, and as a right-hander, David Arnold has won. There were 3 in the final 24, Aulby and this man, Petraglia, were 2. Johnny Petraglia, all-time bowling hero. Another bowling great. Aulby comes in against...
You know, a springtime boom, it's like everything happens at once. There's no end to the stuff you got to do.
Right, John.
Heavy-duty Ace work gloves are just $288 a pair, and Ace long-handled shovels and rakes are $597 each.
Hey, no matter what you're doing this weekend, Ace is the place for you.
To prove how long Rain Dance car wax lasts, just add water. Rain Dance, the longest lasting protection you can buy.
Nothing hurts a bowler's performance like an out-of-balance ball. That's why I teamed up with the people at Ebonite to develop the Thunderbolt dual block. Its patented weight placement system as a dual weight block to offset the weight removed by drilling with incredible precision, making every roll more stable, every impact more powerful.
The Thunderbolt dual block from Ebonite.
Hollywood honors the Academy Award-winning director of Lawrence of Arabia, A Bridge on the River Kwai. The American Film Institute salutes Sir David Lean, Saturday.
Colorado City is at war. The polygamists are split down the middle, dividing up, taking sides. Some say the leaders of the town are too powerful, controlling their homes, their land, and their personal lives, even arranging their marriages. The natives are getting very, very restless.
My gut feeling is that there'll be bloodshed in this town.
The polygamy war.
A current affair. Monday night at 7 here on 27 WHTF.
Chevy's ads say they're winning in Ford County, Illinois. Cute idea. Fact is, Ford sold more trucks than Chevy in Ford County, Illinois, Ford County, Kansas, Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, and Chevy Chase, Maryland. In fact, Ford outsold Chevy all over America in 1989. And Chevy keeps saying they're winning. Winning what?
Now save $750 or get 6.9 financing on F-150 only at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
WHTM TV 27, Harrisburg.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. Brought to you by Firestone. Watch us. We're on the move. And by Ebonite, makers of the Thunderbolt Dual Block.
All right, there you see the final score of the first game was 6 strikes. Dave Arnold, 236, and a very respectable score for our Hall of Famer. Here he is, Johnny Petraglia.
Johnny Petraglia, 7-pin in 7th frame, 8th frame, and 9th frame. You hit the pocket, and you strike on those balls, you shoot 247. You look pretty good out there.
Well, thanks, Paul. I was hitting a little bit on the upswing, I guess, because I was a little bit nervous, and it's really easy to see the ball was breaking late behind the head pin, and then as soon as I started to get relaxed around the 10th frame, started moving a foot sooner. So I hit the pocket, but I could have thrown it better.
Quickly on this Aulby match, I feel the right-hander has an advantage, especially on the championship here, where there's still a little bit of track left from previous years. How do you feel against Aulby and against Dave Arnold?
Well, on this pair, last night, in fact, I played about 15-16, and the shot has moved out. Because Mike has to go around so far, he's going to have to carry better.
Okay, Chris, the Budweiser points. Let's see who's leading this year so far.
Johnny, good luck for next week. First place in the Budweiser point standings now, 125 points for first place and so on down the line. 10 bonus points for a tournament leader like Dave Husted did today. Here are the leaders through 15 tournaments, winter tour: Monticelli, Pensac, Voss, Lawrence, and Warren. So we have one more to go in the winter tour, and this, of course, point standings continue. In our match 2, we look forward to player of the year, rookie of the year, a little of everything in bowling. Mike Aulby going against first game winner, 236-205, Dave Arnold. So right away, let's his presence known to a twice PBA national champion. Won the U.S. Open in Edmond, Oklahoma last year, and only needs to complete the Triple Crown like Billy Hardwick, Johnny Petraglia, and Pete Weber have done, is to win next week's Firestone. Mike Aulby.
Aulby a little bit surprised at that ball result, as he expected the big break, leaves the 3-9 double wood spare. A tough shot to start a match out with. He's got to get the ball right on the left side of the 3-pin, make sure he carries through to the 9. Much more difficult with that back 9-pin in there. Aulby, as we all know, Chris, once he gets it rolling, very, very tough.
It's hard to believe it's his first championship round appearance this year. Mike won 4 titles last year, set a money earnings mark of $298,237. Earlier in his career, he'd set a mark of over 200. Has great form.
Great with speed control. He drops that left shoulder a little bit, but keeps his swing in by his left side. He drops it behind his hip a little bit, similar to the swing we saw Johnny Petraglia having last game. A little stiff-legged from Mike Aulby. As he gets a little bit older than the age of 30 he has right now, he'll learn to have to bend that leg to stay competitive.
Jumping with joy on that shot. A frequent guest on Late Night with David Letterman, another Hoosier and Ball State graduate.
Dave Arnold has the type of style, as you see his climb to the top 5. He started very poorly in the first round of qualifying, then climbed steadily up into 4th place. Has the style that can really knock in a pair of lanes like this.
And on the opposite side now, it's a 2 sleeper 8 for Dave Arnold.
Well, we saw the 3-9 for Aulby, covered perfectly in the first frame. Arnold slides by the head pin. Lucky to get the 10-pin out. Once again, a tough spare. Cover that 2-pin solidly. Get the ball right in this area. Let it carry out the 8-pin. See if Arnold can do it just that way.
All right. Dave's moving over now to the left lane, and immediately following our telecast will be ABC's Wide World of Sports. The 1976 Olympic gold medalist, Nadia Comaneci. Exclusive interview and performance. So, experience the mystery and magic of this Romanian, and of course the road to the Kentucky Derby.
Chris, and I have some winners for you in that race today. Champagne for Ashley, wire to wire, New York State bred horse, class with speed, and he's on his home track. The long shot, Yonder, has won at this distance at Aqueduct. So if you like the long shots, try a bet on Yonder.
Okay, with Bo Burton's tip sheet, the thoroughbreds. Non-winner who's looking better all the time, having won the first game, has come up with his second strike in 3 frames. Mike Aulby, whose best finish here was third in 1980 at the United States Open.
Aulby, a bowler discovered by Triple Crown winner, the first one, Billy Hardwick, in an exhibition match when Aulby was only 18 years old.
All right, here's have a Bo Burton tip of the week before the actual one really starts, Nelson. This is not easy, the 3-7.
3-7, Aulby was kind of disturbed, I think, in the middle of his shot by something happening off to his right, lets the ball slide by. Needs to get the ball to the right of the 3-pin and drive it into the 7. Right in this area, drive that 3-pin into the 7. Not a real tough shot for Aulby. Probably the odds 2-1. Needs it to stay even in the match.
That's why he's been bowler of the year. PBA national champion twice, doubles champion twice. The bowler of the decade in the 80s.
John with a perfect shot. Stays even in the match through 3 frames. Looks like he's zeroed on the left-hand lane. Has to make an adjustment on the right-hand lane when he comes up there in the 5th frame.
In gaining that bowler of the decade honor from Bowling Magazine, a publication of the American Bowling Congress, he had 18 titles. Okay, after the conversion to strike for Aulby, the match is all even. We'll be back.
Now, for every time life turns up the heat,
I told you we wouldn't know anybody.
A new kind of antiperspirant, Degree.
Total strangers.
I see that.
New Degree is body heat activated. Every time your body heat rises, Degree kicks in with extra protection. Precisely when you need it most, Degree has you covered.
It's about time.
New Degree protects you most when you need it most.
To show how Firestone Firehawk tires perform, we occasionally take some of them for a little weekend drive. At the toughest tracks across the country, we race on the same Firehawk SV street tires you can buy. Over 1 million miles now, and still counting. Firestone, watch us. We're on the move.
It's a great weekend. Sure went fast.
Every sport has an ultimate goal. Now it's bowling's turn. The $250,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions. Next Saturday on ABC Sports.
Well, we were away because we're running a little behind our allotted 90-minute time period. Dave Arnold bowled in the 4th frame, left to 2-4-5-8. Marked with his spare, now shooting in the 5th. Close match with Mike Aulby. Johnny Petraglia, you leave those single pins with what looks to be perfect hits. It's got to be a real letdown on the lanes after the shot.
Well, it is, Chris. When you think you've thrown say a 95 or 100% shot and you get wrapped, you have to just try and figure out why and go back and correct it.
Didn't happen so much to this man, Dave Arnold, in the match against you, but now he's starting to see and feel the effect.
Well, also, I think the oil is carrying down the lane a little bit further, and that's why he's hitting light, especially on the right-hand lane.
Okay. From that shot to Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. And what Johnny Petraglia just said, the oil carrying down the lanes are getting a little tighter. That's what Rick Steelsmith just told me. Rick, what kind of adjustment are you going to make for the slicker lanes?
Probably one of two things. I'll either decide to move right a little bit or stay where I was in the practice session and slow my ball speed down a little bit.
If you haven't seen Rick Steelsmith, stay tuned. One of the best in the next match. Rick, good luck.
Thank you.
Speaking of one of the best, you're looking at him, Mike Aulby, 18 titles, asking for a re-rack and getting it on the right lane. Now, he has a strike up, and he'll be shooting in the 5th frame. If he can strike, he'll lead by 11 pins. again, leaving single pin the 10.
Well, the right-hand lane, Johnny Petraglia is giving Aulby a lot of trouble as he comes in light. You see, Aulby is not getting up there. And John, what do you have advice can you give him right here?
Well, I think what's happening, Bo, is the oil's carrying down the lane further. Lane 27 was really snap hooking when I first started, and 28 was fine. Now it looks like 28's starting to get pretty slick, and 27 is fine.
All right, watch Aulby on the spare.
All right, earlier we talked to Mike about a record year last year, and we asked him to tell us about this year.
Well, I started out the year bowling pretty well with 3 top 10s, and then I fell off the pace. Mentally, not real confident with the way I was throwing the ball. When that happens, you go into somewhat of a slump. Then I hurt my foot playing with my nieces, and it caused me to withdraw from a few tournaments, including last week. But feels great this week. My confidence is a lot better. I'm throwing the ball much better, and I'm ready to go on from here.
And right now he holds a 1-pin lead, 6th frame.
To bowl well today. He has during the week here. The man behind Mike is Jerry Levine, longtime newspaper man and publicist in professional bowling, including the PBA. Now Dave Arnold.
Everybody has been light on this lane, both Arnold and Aulby. 5 shots so far.
I hit and 3-6-10.
That could answer Rick Steelsmith's question. When I queried him over there about what kind of adjustment he's going to make, he said he'll either move to the right or slow the ball down. Arnold moved to the right, the ball hooked too early, leaves the 3-6-10, so apparently the best move to make is to stay in the same position, slow the ball speed down, maybe crank it up a little bit more. Arnold avoids the split, but has the tough spare.
Now for Dave Arnold, the winner of our second match, will meet Rick Steelsmith. Arnold, at whom you're looking, defeated Johnny Petraglia in the first game with 6 strikes, 236 to 205. Looking away, seemingly unconcerned. You can bet he isn't. Not watching Arnold. Spare up. All right. Dave Arnold and Mike Aulby in our second match are close one. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Wood trim is going. Your paint is why. Because most premium paints aren't formulated to stop moisture damage. And before you know it, your wood trim is gone. You need Rust-Oleum Wood Saver Trim Paint. Formulated with Teflon and other ingredients, it forms a superior barrier to resist moisture. So don't wait. Replace your paint. Or you could replace your wood.
Barring the lottery ticket, I let an older man go ahead.
$1,000!
It was a Maalox moment. I needed Maalox strength.
I can't take this. Can you take half?
Sure! Get strong relief for all your Maalox moments. Now for your Maalox moments, breakthrough news. A big splash of cherry and a burst of mint. New cherry cream and mint cream extra strength Maalox Plus. Now the strongest antacid has terrific new tastes. Strong relief for all your Maalox moments.
From a girl of magic to a woman of mystery, the story of Nadia Comaneci's new life in America, plus the Wood Memorial, next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Wide World next. Tournament sponsor, Ken West, our 17th year here at Bradley Bowl for the Greater Hartford Open. Wonderful host, standing room crowds only. Watching Mike Aulby along with you.
Big shot for Aulby. Easy to see the adjustment from the announce booth, as Johnny Petraglia just said to me. He did it again. He expected Aulby to stay with this slightly inside line, soften the shot up, and swing it back into the pocket. Aulby moved to the left, straighten the shot out a little bit, and once again he has that very tough double wood 3-9 spare. He needs this to maintain just a 4-pin lead. The match is up for grabs through 7.
Mike shot the only 300 here this week to go along with a pair of 279s. I'm getting that kind of results here in his first match and Arnold's second.
Aulby, who used to use a 15-pound ball, as we'll see with Rick Steelsmith recovering from shoulder injury, did some weightlifting in '83, moved up to the 16-pound ball, and now carries much better and plays a little bit more hook. And we check out his position on the approach. He's playing a pretty good size hook here on the left-hand lane. Starting in this position, will slide over in this position, playing a hook around the second arrow out wide.
Mike Aulby among the great left-handers like Earl Anthony with 42 titles. Aulby and Dave Davis with 18. Johnny Petraglia with 14. Billy Allen 13. Mike McGrath with 10. So in our PBA history, the lefties have been tough.
Big shot for Arnold. This is a take charge shot. Nobody has struck on the right-hand lane in this match.
Leaving a 4-pin, Dave Arnold. And we left out another great left-hander, Mike Aulby's brother-in-law, Steve Cook.
See a shot of Dave Arnold. He tries to finesse the ball in the track area between the second and third arrows. It looks like it's going to set up, but drifts just a pinch high. The 2 goes around the 4, knocks out the 7. But once again, nobody has struck on the right-hand lane. Arnold will finish on this lane if it comes down to the very final frame.
Very quiet, unassuming, reads a lot.
Loves novels, is a cerebral player, is told by his style, kind of keeps to himself, kind of quiet. Aulby just looking down at the ground, checks his shoes, and then contemplates his next shot. Arnold, the same type of player. Once again, 9th frame, Arnold trails by 4.
Wobbly, 7.
Big scores all week long here, and part of that is because of nice lane condition, but also great carry. All of a sudden, the championship round, we see Petraglia with a number of balls in the pocket with no good results, 9-pin spares. Arnold, the same thing has befallen him right here, as he needed a good shot there in the 9th, leaves the swishing 7-pin. Spare conversion here will put Aulby in the driver's seat with a chance to take the match in the 9th and 10th frames.
Mike Aulby wastes no time in getting up. The man who, along with his brother-in-law Steve Cook, have won two PBA doubles championships, between them 31 titles. Outside Magazine's Adventure Sports Special. Tomorrow on ABC, 3 Eastern, 2 Central, and Pacific.
Skiing, gliding, bike races.
Disappointed result, 6-pin for Aulby.
Aulby, showing his match game demeanor, has struck every time on the left hand. Will have left-hand lane, has spared with this 6-pin 5 times on the right, has lost no count. He's going at the unusual pace of being able to bowl a 200 game without a double. He needs spare, strike, spare.
Looking away, huh?
Knows he's going to at least need a double if Aulby marks in the 10th. Scoreboard tells the story. Mike Aulby has been perfect on the left-hand lane with 4 strikes. If he can strike 2 more times, he would shut out Dave Arnold. He needs 2 strikes and 6. Arnold, the best he can do is 205. But remember, neither player has struck on the right-hand lane. Advantage, Aulby.
crowd sort of wrote the caption to that picture, didn't they?
What pin action? It's like it's destiny for somebody to not shoot a big game here. Aulby has been around the pocket. Watch the pin action. Watch the ball. It'll hit the 1 and 2, and then the action the 5 pin. There's the 5 pin. He just saws that 5 off, slides it right by the 6, and misses the 10. Aulby with a chance to shut out Arnold with 2 strikes. Not to be. Dave Arnold will have a chance to throw a double in the 10th to go on to the semifinal.
This is our second match. You just joined us. This is the 17th time the Pro Bowlers have come to Bradley Bowl for the Greater Hartford Open. In our first match, Dave Arnold defeated Johnny Petraglia 236 to 205 near the end of our second game here on ABC. Aulby and Dave Arnold.
Aulby needs 7 pins or more on this shot to make Arnold throw 2 strikes for victory.
This Philly, Mike Aulby, shooting a 198.
Dave Arnold, 4 times he's been up on the right-hand lane this game, no strikes, needs 2 consecutive strikes to win the match. What do? You go to your Sunday ball, rope it right in the pocket, extra speed, don't give away the head pin.
There's one.
1 more strike and 4 pins is the difference in this match. If Arnold wins, he goes against Steelsmith. The winner of that match would have a chance against David Husted and a right to go to the Firestone Tournament of Champions next week. It all rides on this ball for Arnold.
Pin. Tough break. Mike Aulby, not that joyful. You will be joyful after watching Nelson Burton's tip of the week because it shows you how to convert the 4, 7, 9, 10 splits. Stay tuned and watch.
That's an ugly-looking combination of pins down there at the back end of the lane. The 4, 7, 9, 10 split. A pretty common split for right-handed players, and very difficult to make if you don't employ the proper bowling techniques. This week's bowling tip of the week, I'll show you how to increase your chances of making this tough split. First, move to the right side of the approach, over to your 7-pin position. I have that marked with some green tape. Second, pick your 3rd arrow target. I have that blocked out with green tape. Then roll the ball over the 3rd arrow and get the ball to the left side of the 4-pin. The 4-pin will be driven over into the 9 and take out the 10-pin. An exciting looking shot when you make it. Great action. The 4, 7, 9, 10. Let's give it a try. Remember, stand to the right side of the approach, go over the 3rd arrow, knock that 4 into the 9-10. You'll make the split.
ABC Sports brings you the ultimate bowling home video.
Now, let's get on with the action.
Learn how to fix your problems the right way. Improve your game strategy. And practice smarter. It's Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Own a foreign car, Midas has the right brake parts in stock for practically every foreign car. And our brake technicians are trained experts, so we do the job right and right away. For foreign car brakes, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Santa Fe. For centuries, men have been mysteriously drawn to it. Santa Fe Cologne for Men. Discover the mystery of its attraction.
There's something new coming to you from Budweiser. Something completely new. It's completely different and completely refreshing. Introducing Bud Dry. It's cold filtered for smooth draft taste and dry brewed for no aftertaste. So if you're looking for smooth draft taste and no aftertaste, try Bud Dry.
The Greater Hartford Open at Bradley Bowl, 2 games have been completed, 2 winners. Arnold in the first, Mike Aulby now in the second over Arnold by 3 pins, 198 to 195. A 7th frame or stretch for our crowd here at Bradley Bowl. And Bo and I both look forward to returning to FAIRLAWN, Ohio, suburb of Akron, for another edition of the $250,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Chris, 159 players in this field, a short field, 209 average for the field, 220 to make the top 24. Here's some of the other players. Smooth Thayer there, Tommy Baker, 5 out of 6 top 24s. Ryan Schaefer, McDowell, both young players looking good. Bob Hanley, who's been very tough here. Jimmy Johnson, once again, a good check. Standish, Hugh Miller had the flu all week, still picked up $2,400. The big guy, Monticelli, Curtis Odom, he'll get tougher and tougher. Watch for that guy. Wayne Webb, recovering from that disc injury. Kazuski, another college player. Norm Duke, Doug Kent, good player. Hamilton, Joe Berardi, tuning up for the Firestone, looks real sharp. LeClaire, Big John Kirker, 23rd, 24th, Don Janello, and a wonderful trophy to the winner here, Chris.
Yes, and Charlie Tapp, the defending champion, finished 42nd. Jim Pensack, 3-time titleist, finished 36th. Next week, the Firestone, the man that's been in 5 of the last 6, Mike Aulby, yet to win it. He needs it to become a Triple Crown winner like Billy Hardrick, Johnny Petraglia, and Pete Weber.
Little strategy here. Steelsmith is making Aulby finish on the tough lane in the 10th.
Timber.
The essence of a trip 6 strike. Watch the 3-pin. It'll do the work. Goes to the sideboard, twists between the 6 and 10. The 10 falls down. The 6 takes out the 8. Aulby off to a good start. But watch this young man. If you have not seen him bowl, he is, my opinion, could be one of the best bowlers of the decade.
Sliding by. Leading to 2, 4, 5, 7. Rick Steelsmith, 25 years old, 5'7", 140. Wichita, Kansas. Graduate of Vincennes and Wichita State.
Switching balls for a very tough spare. When you add that 7-pin in with the 2, 4, 5, there's a number of ways to miss this. You can either chop it off or drive the 4 over the top of the 7.
All right, Rick Steelsmith making his 3rd television appearance. Out for over a year with rotator cuff surgery, but he's a man that recovers.
He has won what we consider a pro tournament. We bowled the ABC Masters, that's the American Bowling Congress Masters, after the Firestone Tournament champions. Rick won it as an amateur, so he has not qualified for the Firestone. He still has to qualify to get into next week's tournament. The other 2 remaining players, Aulby and tournament leader Husted, have already qualified. Semifinal match.
4-7-10.
4-7-10, difficult split to convert. A little bit confused. Rick Steelsmith needs to get this ball in the 4-7 zone, slide that 4 into the 10. A very tough shot. Has to make sure he doesn't lose too much pin count. Here's the way to make it. Just nip that 4-pin, take out the 10. Let's see what Steelsmith can do.
All-out try by the promising professional that's looking for his first PBA Tour title. It takes a big bag to bring in the equipment, doesn't it, Bo?
Well, that's rosin, tape, stuff for your shoes, all that, all ready for each player to be used if they needs it. I asked Johnny Petraglia, who's still in the announce booth. You said you could see the move that Aulby must make to hit this right-hand lane. So far, he's been unsuccessful in 6 shots. What do you think now, John?
Well, Bo, I think that he did the right thing moving inside further, and then he switched to a dull ball. He's using a shiny ball on the left lane. He switched to a dull one on the right lane to try to combat it. I think by moving in, if he uses the shiny ball in both lanes, he'll be okay.
All right. And I take it, John, the shiny ball with lower surface friction should go straighter. The dull ball that he's using should hook a lot more, so it needs to make some sort of adjustment, correct?
Correct. I think that with the oil carrying down on the outside boards, there's still oil fairly short in the middle of the lane, and if he uses a shiny ball on 28, he's going to strike on it.
Good advice. Obviously, Aulby cannot hear from the announce booth down to the approach. Let's see what he does.
You pros make it sound so simple, the game, but it is not. A lot of strategy. Decisions.
Aulby's doing one thing that every great match game player has to do, and that's not lose his good lane. Often you'll see a player, when he's struggling on one lane, lose the other lane. Aulby has struck or been around the pocket every time on the left-hand lane, and that is the key to staying tough in a match, because as soon as he gets the right-hand lane, it's 3 strikes in a row every time. Now, Steelsmith trails by 15, third frame.
And the young player who has won 4th place finish this year in the Budweiser Classic in Sunrise, Florida, is left a 10-pin.
Steelsmith came out on the tour, powerful player with a great experience at the international level, and has had to switch to a 15-pound ball, as Amleto Moncelli, who is doing an exhibition for Shriners Children's Hospital down Danbury, Connecticut tomorrow, looks on.
Amleto finishing 14th. We asked Rick earlier why Wichita State has produced so many talented bowlers.
Well, first of all, the program there attracts a lot of the top young talent around the country and even around the world. And while they are there, they gain some knowledge and some experience that I think helps prepare them to come out on the tour and do real well from the beginning.
And he said the best international or collegiate player is a kid named Pat Haley from Wichita State.
All right, and Rick Steelsmith with his first strike, but Mike Aulby leads by 15 pins in our semifinal game.
Here at the firehouse, we always try to sit down and eat a good square meal. But to be honest, we just can't always do it. Sure, we know we still need to get stuff like vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And we do, at breakfast, in Product 19.
No one food has everything you need, but every Product 19 breakfast has 19 vitamins, minerals, and other essential nutrients. So if you can't always count on eating right...
Lunch? Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Count on 19. Product 19.
At BIC, we sympathize with the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. That's why we've created the BIC Metal Shaver. The patented BIC Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. So instead of stretching, start reaching for a BIC Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a great shave, and that's no stretch.
The speed, the danger, the controversy. IndyCar drivers hit the road for their Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Tomorrow on ABC Sports.
Rick Steelsmith. To strike up, Rick Steelsmith comes up high and leaves the 3-6. So we're running way behind our allotted time. Aulby bowled while we were away for the strike up. He struck in the 4th. And the 5th to take a 35-pin lead, and now his opponent, Rick Steelsmith, in our next to last game in the Greater Hartford Open Championship, goes cross lane for the 3-6. The winner of this game will meet Dave Husted, and here he is with Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. You qualified inside. David Husted as a tournament leader. Steelsmith's inside struggling. Any strategy for that one game?
I'm opting for Plan B, Bo. I'm going to move to the gutter and see what happens out there. It looks like inside's pretty flaky. I'm going to try somewhere around the 1st, 2nd arrow and try to swing it towards the gutter and see what happens.
Chris, I think this is a great strategy. Looking back, 1975, same thing happened to me. I moved outside, had a big game, and I think Husted's got the right idea. Back to you.
Okay, and Bo won here twice, 74 and 75. Steelsmith, 6 frame. Coming up high. Leaving only the 3-pin. Rick, who majored in bowling management at Vincennes and then in business management, hoped the ball would manage a little better result. But he gets some help.
You know, the hardest transition, I believe, for even great collegiate players to make on the PBA Tour is, number one, to get used to bowling against all great players. There are no dominant players out here. They're all just about as good as you. And second, the quick lane changes that are made out here in the Tour and the adjustments. As you see Aulby making an adjustment, the dull ball moves inside playing the big hook.
Very big hook. For Mike Aulby, who won his only other game today, he has strung together 4. He defeated Dave Arnold 198 to 195. What's his reaction?
For 2 reasons. He takes a tremendous 46-pin lead against a somewhat lost Rick Steelsmith. And number 2 is that he knows he can hit this right lane. He's using the dull ball in the right lane that hooks a lot, the shiny ball with the low surface friction that goes much straighter on the left-hand lane. He has the combination.
Leading a 7-pin. Crowd appreciated their string of 4. We've had a string now of 15 consecutive tour telecasts here, ABC Sports. In our 29th year, we wind up the winter tour telecasts. A week from today, Bo, with the Firestone Tournament of Champions. 3 weeks off and back at it again.
Seattle, Portland, a couple of weeks in Vegas, and we even have the seniors on June 9th. Mark your calendar. Anthony, Weber, all the great players.
All right. Aulby in the lead by 45 as we take this pause. We'll return.
I was an IRS agent for 24 years. You can imagine, people weren't very happy to see me coming. I stopped working for them about 5 years ago. Now I'm a member of AARP, and I volunteer to help people do their taxes through the AARP Tax Aid Program. And you know, I hear something I thought I never would.
Oh, am I glad to see you.
AARP, making a difference.
One sure sign of spring is the Spring Into Savings catalog from True Value Hardware stores. Keep your yard well groomed with this sturdy TrueFlex lawn rake by True Temper, just $3.49. Handle watering chores with a 60-foot Green Thumb reinforced vinyl hose, only $8.88. And for trees and bushes, you'll find this Master Mechanic 21-inch pruning saw for just $4.99 in the Spring Into Savings catalog from participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Every sport has an ultimate goal. Now it's bowling's turn. The $250,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions. Next Saturday on ABC Sports.
Just saw the shot of Rick Steelsmith shooting in the 8th frame while we were away. He left the 3-10 and then missed the 3-pin for an open frame in the 7th. And now with a 4-pin here in the 8th. Bo.
A little silver lining in every cloud. Steelsmith will lose here, but it'll be Aulby against Husted for the championship. That saves Dale Eagle for the Firestone Tournament Champions next week.
All winners in the Firestone. That is the format, the long format. A major event has been for many, many years, the PBA. And in the city, the home of Firestone, Akron, FAIRLAWN. Mike Aulby as loose and relaxed as we've seen him all day with that 8th frame shot.
Mike Aulby, who is usually accompanied by wife Tammy to the tournament. Mike said that Tammy's home babysitting Christopher, who just started sitting up this week. Their young child.
Mike has a long sit-up in his hands. He's driving back to Indianapolis to pick up Tammy and Christopher and take them to Akron.
Chance for a 259.
A 7.
Aulby with a spare here will be in the 220s if he just marks in the 10th. It'll be Mike Aulby, Dave Husted, two of the toughest, most experienced competitors on the Pro Bowlers Tour, going at it the final match before the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Over Mike Aulby, the leader. Spare in the 9th frame. Spare up. Steelsmith now. We'll go to work. A lot of preparation.
Rick Steelsmith, you will see this man, as long as his shoulder injury heals properly, many, many times on the Pro Bowlers Tour. Best talent I've seen to come on the tour since Marshall Holman.
Oh, and that's a high compliment, Bo.
Well, Holman, the all-time leading money winner, and this man will have a great career.
Okay, we have a winner, Mike Aulby. We'll go into the final against Houston. ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Tour will be back after these messages and a word from our local stations.
Hey, little guy, you're beginning to look a lot like your daddy. Pretty soon you're going to be growing hair. I'm starting to lose mine, so I just did something lots of us big guys are doing. I went to the doctor. He said there are things that can help. Hey, just because we start out bald doesn't mean we have to end up that way.
Doctors have treatment programs that work. So see your doctor or call this number.
The bill's twice as big as usual.
'Cause, honey, you ate twice as much.
With extra strength Tums EX, even twice the heartburn's no sweat. It's twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
A decade of Nightline. 10 years of bringing people together who are worlds apart. The best of Nightline with Ted Koppel. Tuesday.
April 28th. Ease their pain.
Did you hear that? Hear what?
Seat cushion day is coming.
I heard that. April 28th. It's Harrisburg Senators Seat Cushion Day.
The first 3,000 fans in Riverside Stadium receive a Harrisburg Senator seat cushion, courtesy of AT&T and WHTN Channel 27.
Would you say this is our seat of dreams?
This is Mako's Presidential Paint Service.
Available for only $199.
We professionally prepare your car. We surface sand, seal it, and give it a high-grade oven-baked enamel finish from over 7,000 colors. And it's all backed in writing at over 400 centers coast to coast. Mako's Presidential Paint Service.
Available for only $199.
If you want this kind of work for this kind of price, you better get Mako.
John Reppitz has the score and more on sports, only on 27 News.
I'm Frank Gifford in New York. Now don't forget, coming up at 4:30 Eastern Time on ABC's Wide World of Sports, 1976 Olympic gold medalist Nadia Comaneci performs in a special gymnastics exhibition and in an exclusive interview discusses her escape from Romania and her controversial arrival in America. Plus top Kentucky Derby contender Champagne for Ashley live in the Wood Memorial Invitational. And our cycling coverage begins with a report on the grueling Paris-Roubaix bicycle race. Right now, let's rejoin Chris Schenkel for today's final match.
Thank you, Frank. And here, the semifinal game has ended. Mike Aulby with 6 strikes, 224. Rick Steelsmith, 165. A real classy head-to-head confrontation now. Right-hander Dave Husted. There he is with 7 titles. He practices, and while he does, let's do it our ABC Sports way, up close and personal. At Milwaukee Bowl, near Portland, Oregon, one can meet any member of the Husted family on a given day. Champ Husted, a former professional bowler, runs the center, where he taught his 3 children to bowl. Son Dave has won 7 PBA titles and over $750,000 in his 13-year career.
until he won the U.S. Open in 1982 in Houston, I don't think I really thought that, ever dreamed that he could be as good as he has turned out to be. Very rewarding being in the business myself all these years and bowling a little bit myself way back and never at the level that he is at. He made more money in the first 6 months than I made in all my career bowling. So he still amazes me with his abilities. He's better than I ever dreamed he'd be.
Dave married his high school sweetheart, Michelle. And when she went into labor with son Corey, Dave left the Firestone to be at her side.
Fortunately, I'm in a position where there's going to be more Firestones for Dave Husted, and I don't know how many more times we're going to have children. So I thought the priority was basically with my family, and I think that was definitely the right move for me. Some guys disagreed, some guys agreed. I really don't care what anybody else thinks. I knew it was the right move for me, and I'm really glad because it was a very special moment in our lives. He's really been, I think, a blessing. It's been something to where when things don't go well, you come home and see a little baby boy running around, and you just kind of forget about everything else and kind of jump on the floor and play with him. It's a lot of fun.
Corey enjoys his daddy's victories, especially Dave's latest. It's filled with Corey's favorite treat. Dad liked that, didn't he? He really should. Friends, what you're about to see now is a head-to-head match between two championship players, but more important, two quality people, Dave Husted and Mike Aulby.
Good point, and also another point that Michelle and son Corey are not here. So both fathers out on their own in the championship.
Not getting the 10 pin on the left lane. Dave used to do earlier this year one in Las Vegas, the Showboat.
Won a sudden death roll-off in overtime in the championship match against Marshall Holman.
Very serious Husted. Mike Aulby now up to bowl in his third match of the afternoon. 2 victories, an overhead shot. Left-hander, Aulby. Big break.
Aulby a little bit soft on that shot with the dull ball on the right-hand lane, which hooks quite a bit more than the ball he's using on the left-hand lane. Has the 10 pin pushed out by the 6, leaves the 4-7. Much easier than the 4-7-10 split.
Mike Aulby in his 52nd television appearance, a record of 59 wins, 34 losses, where all during those games he averaged 221.
That's quite a record. A lot of good scores bowled on TV, and of course that's where you win all the big money if you can perform in the championship round. Let's see how Aulby's playing the championship here. He starts slightly on the right-hand part of the lane, will walk almost straight up and play a line somewhere around the second arrow with a big swing out by the channel.
And your artistic talents, Bo, were followed.
Well, he got it right along the line. I don't know if I put the line in a different spot that he wouldn't have thrown it in the same place.
Well, if anybody knows this house, you do, having won here twice.
And I'll tell you what, Chris, Husted's playing what I feel is the best place on this championship here. The right-hand lane will finish very well from the 7th, 8th, and 9th board. And they all, Husted ought to be able to hit it. Now, the one thing to look for in the left-hand lane here is just a little bit of a hold spot outside. As you see the profile of David Husted, the 5-step delivery using the full approach, 17 feet, the high swing. Doesn't have the big cupped wrist, has good wrist action, lets the ball do the work, and once again on the left-hand lane will not finish quite as much as the right-hand lane, so all he has to do is soften up a little bit or put a little extra power on it, and he'll be right in the driver's seat.
Disappointing 10 for Husted. In this championship game, the 2 pros bowling for a total of 37,000, 24, and 13.
Dave Husted, good all-around player, experienced, same age as Aulby, both 30 years old.
Did he lose it at the line?
Not even close. He just was totally confused on what happened. He looks as if somebody may have been yelling in the audience, but I don't think that should really affect a player on a spare shot. You're bowling there for many thousands of dollars, and Husted looks like he got the ball in the right zone but didn't get enough lift on it to make it flip over and has opened the door for Aulby.
Strike up shooting in the third. Taking a 22-pin lead. Well, is it better to be the tournament leader in only one game?
Well, it depends on your style. David Husted has been a poor one-game player. Whenever he has bowled one game, he has only won 8% of the time. That's not a very good percentage. When he bowls more than one game, he's won the matches 81% of the time. Now, let's look at Aulby's footwork. He must slide in this area. There's a slide hole on the approach on this left-hand lane. If Aulby catches in there, he could catch on that nail. Once again, a little something bothered him from behind. But watch Aulby's footwork. Also, when Mike Aulby's foot is perpendicular to the foul line, you know that his accuracy is very good. When he turns it slightly sideways, he has more trouble. He's also asking, was that an interference on the 25-second rule? Tournament director says no, he can start over again. So resetting the match, he leads by 22, can make it 32.
Pulling things together after the distraction, Mike Aulby with 2 victories already today takes a 32-pin lead with that strike.
There's something new coming to you from Budweiser. Something smooth, cold, and refreshing. New Bud Dry. Cold filtered for smooth draft taste, and dry brewed for no aftertaste. So if you're looking for a beer with smooth taste and no aftertaste, look no further. Try Bud Dry.
I know about little lawns. Little lawns. Big lawns. Big lawns? Real big lawn.
This top-quality lightweight pruner is just $3.88. Simple Green all-purpose cleaner is $5.49.
Want to know any more? Ask Ace.
Let me tell you.
My athlete's foot kept flaring up. I'd put it out, and it'd just flare up again. Then my doctor told me about Tinactin. It cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly, and it'll keep the fire from coming back.
Tinactin puts the fire out for good.
Fifth frame shot in the championship match by Dave Husted, who had left the 3-6-10 in the fourth while we were away, marked with a spare. Going against 18th-time champion Mike Aulby, hoping to become the second left-hander to win a title here in 1990. Parker Bone, the third, was the first. 3 in a row, fifth frame.
Well, that could have been the tournament right there, Chris. If he had struck on that ball, he would have had a 42-pin lead against a slightly confused David Husted. And Johnny Petraglia, one last comment. Aulby's made all the right moves. He's leading in the fifth frame. Normally the guy in the fifth frame wins the match. They've been winning 75% of the time when they're leading in the fifth frame, so advantage all Aulby. What do you think?
Well, Paul, I think right now, since Aulby didn't strike in the fifth frame and he's had a 2-team pace, I really think that Husted's going to come back with 2 strikes and get the match within a mark again, and we're going to have a race to the finish.
Triple Crown winner Johnny Petraglia, who bowled in the first game against Dave Arnold. Came out on the short end, 236-205, but has to be proud of his performance after a long drought.
And ready for the Firestone. Also prognosticates a close match here, which now is 31 pins in the favor of Aulby, 6th frame.
Come on, Mike.
3-5-6 spare, and it can be a very difficult spare for left-handers, especially in the track, as we said, on the right-hand lane. Now watch Aulby's footwork as he tries to avoid that slight indentation in the lane on the left-hand lane. He slides behind it. He's sliding a little bit shorter in the left-hand lane. There's a little nail that's in that hole, too, so you could actually catch your heel in it. Aulby wearing some good custom shoes, probably making an adjustment right there on the approach to avoid that Little pitfall. Needs to make this spare, though, to keep a big lead.
Championship game, 24 to the winner, 13 to the runner-up, and one more Winter Tour event to take place. That's the Firestone Tournament of Champions next week.
Big shot right here.
Big double.
A smart, experienced David Husted has found the combination on the championship pair. He is playing the big hook on the right-hand lane, which finishes a lot more from the area he's playing, around the 7th or 8th board from the right-hand channel. He's playing the down and in shot on the left-hand lane. With a strike here, the lead of Aulby's will be cut to just 8 pins.
Back here in the 7th frame, he has left the 10 pin.
That lane is so deceptive, Chris. You think the ball's going to finish and flip up and carry the 10. You saw him to start running it out, rooting for it. That's the same thing that happened in the 1st and 3rd frames. Once again happens in the 7th frame. Husted weak 10 on the left-hand lane. He needs just a little extra lift and it'll hold pocket.
Constant example of the mystery of bowling. And speaking of mystery today, Nadia Comaneci on ABC's Wide World of Sports, and having been to Bucharest, Kurt Thomas and I, to do her final performance, and being with her in her home, she is truly a mystery. So Wide World today will be fascinating and informative. Quality champion and Mike Aulby, his lead cut to 19, has a strike in the 7th now.
David Husted wondering, what should I do? He's got the combination. What's going to happen, especially if he hears the crowd rooting another strike in for Aulby, who would be going at a 226 pace if he strikes here and have a 29-pin lead. That's hard to overcome in just 3 frames.
Mike Aulby now with a double. 29-pin lead, his 3rd match of the afternoon, and Husted is quickly up, ready to go in the 8th with spare working.
Husted, possible 227, Aulby going at a 226 pace, must time for David Husted. 4-9, the right-hand lane hooks quite a bit more than the left. Husted doesn't send the ball wide enough, gets a horrible break right here in the 8th frame. When he really had a chance to close down the match, he needs to get the ball over by the 4-pin, slide it into the 9. It's very similar to the bowling tip of the week.
Of course, both of these champions, Husted, who came up with that open frame, his 2nd of this championship game, he'll be at the Firestone. He was 5th last year at Firestone.
Disappointed David Husted, possible 204. To have any chance of winning, he must strike on this ball.
Not to be.
Well, it's going to be the 2nd left-handed winner of the year. Parker Bowen III being the 1st of the season. We've had a great run of 15 weeks, a lot of great young champions coming in there. We've seen Pensek and Lawrence. They'll all be at the Firestone. Next week's the biggie.
Beautiful form. Dave Husted. This man won the United States Open last year in Edmond, Oklahoma. Houston won it in 1982 at Houston. Ninth frame, 7-pin.
Even if Aulby would miss this 7-pin and open once again in the 10th frame, he would be over 200. The best Husted could do is 194. Aulby will play a nice straight shot at the 7-pin. He used to have a little bit of trouble hooking the ball too much there, and now kind of kills it there. Good shot.
Mike Aulby, who has won back-to-back titles before, winning here, Greater Hartford, looking forward to next week's Firestone. We'll be back with the final score of this championship match with Aulby the winner following this.
To prove how long Rain Dance car wax lasts, just add water. Rain Dance, the longest lasting protection you can buy.
Ford, profiles in quality, continuous improvement.
When your goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world, you can't stand still.
For the 1990s, we applied new technologies.
New thinking in how we build our cars.
Today, we're building cars so tight, so solid, so precise.
We can compete with anything. Made anywhere, by anybody.
Coming soon, the all-new Ford Escort and Mercury Tracer. Quality is job one.
It's time to take the road to the most coveted prize in thoroughbred racing. Following a series of premier prep races, the field heads for Churchill Downs.
Midway around the turn.
Here in the Kentucky Derby, the first jewel of the Triple Crown awaits.
As they turn for home.
Next stop, the Preakness Stakes, where the second jewel is up for grabs.
Down the stretch they come.
Finally, the Belmont Stakes, the most difficult test of all.
What a finish.
So get on the road to the Chrysler Triple Crown Challenge. It's all on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Indiana's Mike Aulby, winning his first tournament of the year, 224 to 193. In doing so, picks up the trophy, 24,000, Husted 13, Steelsmith 8, Arnold 6, and Johnny Petraglia $5,000. Now getting the spoils of victory from Ken West at Red Burnham here at Bradley Bowl in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. For Bill Burton and all of our ABC crew, we'll be talking to you next from the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. And by Rain Dance Car Wax, for protection that lasts and lasts and lasts.